does it not feel like the Cowboys right now are playing their best football?
Yeah, which to me, Kevin, like, this isn't the right time. This isn't the right time to be playing your best football. This is the like, I guess, like, you want to be playing your best football in a few weeks.
I guess then the question is, how long can you continue
I don't know.
your best string of football?
I mean, they did it a lot last year, right?
Yeah.
Their offense was really good all season long, especially against NFC East opponents, but they did it a lot last year, and they didn't start well this year. Like, they started bad against Tampa Bay. And I think everybody can look at that game and say, what was the team that night? It didn't make any sense. Then I guess throughout the season, they've kind of progressively grown in that you got Gallup back, and you probably saw the best Gallup on Thanksgiving when Dak said,
High point in Gallup.
Yeah, but he was like, I'm going to go to Gallup like 3 straight times.
Yeah.
You know, it was really, really good to see that. So I do think the Cowboys have the ability to continue the stretch a little bit, but there's a lot to be said about not wanting to get comfortable in what you do to where you're predictable, and then and being able to add to what you're doing. And that's what I hope the Cowboys can do, is as good as they look right now, because they played really well and gotten people off their back, you know, about how crappy they played against Green Bay. Well, do you have more? Do you have another place that you can get to? Do you have other wrinkles that you can add to this offense that haven't even been developed yet? So I think they do. But yeah, man, they're playing really hot right now.
And there's a couple of positive things that I think will go along with this. Is Mike McCarthy said they're going to start their work days later and finish at the same time, and that his winter schedule is designed to keep the team fresh down the stretch. And said rest and recovery is such an important, especially at this time of year, for professional athletes. And we talked about his December record is the 3rd best in NFL history. And so perhaps this is his time to shine. I know we're kind of removed from that, but you remember for the longest time it would be, who's on the schedule in December? Because that would be
when Tony Romo falls apart.
I was going to say the Cowboys, but, you know, I hear what you're saying. I'm not really concerned about that, and not just because you have 3 duds before you go up against the Eagles. Like, it's not that. It's just I have confidence in Mike McCarthy, I think, and the way he does the schedule at this time of year.
What are your thoughts on, you know, go watch the season that Belichick and the Patriots, their last Super Bowl, when was it that against the Falcons? Was that the one? They had this they had a documentary on it, and there are multiple things I learned from that. One, their attention to detail is elite.
You sure?
Like, just knowing that if Julio Jones comes out of his break going left, he's a little bit slower than whenever he goes right, or vice versa. I think it was off his left ankle. They were watching that, and they knew if he lines up here, we'll be able to do this. And they did it. They executed it in a game because they studied it, all right? Well, Bill Belichick all season, one thing that the team hated was the hill. They had the hill in the back of the field, and they ran it every day. So, Kevin, I understand you're talking about rest and recovery and everything. Bill Belichick says the reason we're going to be better in the fourth quarter and at the end of the season is because we're conditioned for this. Nobody can do what so I am always kind of, there's a balance of making sure your guys are fresh, and also there's a balance of making sure that your guys are stronger than everybody. So I don't know what he's doing to kind of combat that part too. Whenever the fourth quarter comes along and it's time to be tougher than everybody else, do you have that part of you too?
Well,
but I do like the way that he approaches it, and the players love it too. And Broadus talks about this constantly. The players respect him because he respects their bodies.
Okay, and then, but something you just said about like come the fourth quarter is this could be problematic. Take this for what you will. Bill Barnwell says the Cowboys have a 99.9% chance to make the playoffs. Those are his statistics. The Cowboys' potential fatal flaw, game management. So while we were just talking about doing all the right things with McCarthy leading into the game, how confident are you about the in-game management?
I mean, weekly it's different. I love that he's aggressive. I'll take aggressive over conservative every time.
Yeah.
If you're going to go play a football game, I want you to be like, I want you to have some creative ideas that go into your game plan, and I want you to. I'm perfectly fine with going for it on fourth downs and leaving it up to your defense. That's one of the big factors. This year especially is he trusts this defense, man. So, when it comes to game management, clock management, weird, right? Like, I don't know. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's very, very poor.
And I think the playoff game, I know they had a giant deficit to overcome last year against the 49ers. I thought clock management in the fourth quarter last year against the 49ers was very perplexing.
Yeah.
Not Jeff Saturday perplexing, but perplexing nonetheless. And then this came up. I guess I didn't really think it was a big deal, but this is one of the things that Barnwell brought up is going into the Vikings game, the commentary team said he had told them he wanted to aim for 30 rushes per game to seal a victory. And so the idea that Barnwell throws out is that's like winning the Powerball and then playing the same numbers the next week. Is like your path to victory every single week is going to be varied. Or like you might find out during the game, obviously, that your path to victory is going to be different. There are games where you're like, hey, we need to run the ball 30 times. And then things happen where you're like, we need to run the ball like 4 times because we're slicing their pass defense up.
But it does kind of feel like if you've done this for this long, you kind of do see the trend is if I do this, it is going to give me a best opportunity. So let's try to make sure we do this. And as consistently as possible, let's try to stick to this. Let's not get carried away in the moment a lot of times. But game flow does depict a lot of the decisions that you make on things. Do I trust that this, again, we go back to my guys have been kicking that team's butt at this all day long. Why would I not do it again in the fourth quarter? If it's been working for me all game, why would I go away from something?
I will tell you, if you're looking for something positive out of the Barnwell piece, it goes off of their analytical power index. The Cowboys are second. You know what I told you the other day when we were making lines and everything like that the analytics, especially the ESPN version, love the Dallas Cowboys. They have the Dallas Cowboys. This is the second most likely team to make the playoffs behind only the Kansas City Chiefs. And, a lot of people will tell you like the Chiefs are the favorite to win the Super Bowl. The Cowboys most likely to make the playoffs from the NFC. They're sitting in a position where they look like they're going to be one of the teams to beat. Even I know historically we're primed for a letdown.
I have no doubt in my mind that with Mike McCarthy as the head coach, they will consistently be not only in the playoffs, but pretty comfortably in the playoffs. All right. This is a dude that knows how to coach. He isn't a buffoon. All right. And people can try to make him a buffoon, but he knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah, I don't think.
He has a quarterback that's playing out of his mind right now, too.
That's true.
But that's a bonus to go along with it. I do want people to understand, we criticize Dak when he's bad, and we also give him credit when he's good. Like that, I know that's a very difficult concept. When he's bad, doesn't he deserve to not be praised?
Yes.
But I will defend him also in a lot of instances, but we criticize him when he's bad, and we also give him his flowers when he's good. And he's playing out of his mind right now.
I think people extrapolate that comment from the game as to thoughts on the entire career. Is like, oh, he was bad. Oh, so you think he's trash? And you're like, no. Can I tell you?
I will also add, Kevin, he hasn't shown me he's that dude. That's a different level. You got to do that in a different place in the playoffs. You have to show that you can overcome that one thing. And that is continuing to go to the next level with it. So when he does that, the swagger's there. I heard G-Bag yesterday talking about this dude has himself on as his screensaver on his phone, dude. Like that dude has the confidence. He's got that. But can he be that dude whenever it matters the most? And that's in playoff games and in those big time games. That's what gets you in the Hall of Fame.
And the Colts are interesting. I know they're not going to be in the playoffs, but they're an interesting start from the perspective of there's only 4 teams that Dak has never thrown a touchdown pass against. One of them is obviously the Cowboys, so like we don't need to count that. The 3 others are the Jets, the Chargers, and the Colts. And then one more fascinating part, I believe that will break both of these trends, is the Colts and Cowboys are the only 2 teams that have never given up a TD to Zeke or Dak. Obviously, they've both been with the Cowboys their entire career, so that would be impossible otherwise. But that means the Colts are the only team in the NFL that has never given up a touchdown to Dak or Zeke. Like I said, I believe both of those will be broken this weekend, but I thought that was a fun fact, especially when we break it, then we can celebrate it.